I died in Ukraine 3 days ago. My body just hasn't figured it out yet. The report on my desk says I completed a routine weapons inspection at Yavoriv Training Center on March 15, 2024. My signature, my handwriting. But I wasn't there. I was 40 feet underground, watching American soldiers float in tanks of murky water while their brains were being rewritten, one memory at a time. You need to understand something about military deployments. They're 99% boredom punctuated by moments of pure terror. I'd been with the Office of Defense Cooperation in Ukraine for 8 months, part of the expanded advisory team monitoring weapons shipments. Javelins, stingers, small arms ammunition. Making sure what we sent actually reached Ukrainian forces instead of disappearing into the black market. Staff Sergeant Marcus Chen. That's me, or was me. I'm not entirely sure anymore. Yavoriv sits 20 clicks from the Polish border, a sprawling complex of Soviet-era buildings retrofitted with NATO equipment. Every morning, same routine. Coffee that could strip paint. Briefings about briefings. Inventory checks that never turned up discrepancies, because everyone knew we were just going through the motions. My team was small, just 4 of us doing the actual groundwork while brass played politics upstairs. Rodriguez handled logistics, could track a single bullet through 17 transfer points and tell you which truck driver had sticky fingers. Patterson ran technical assessment, the kind of guy who'd take apart a javelin launcher just to see if he could make it shoot faster. Williams did communications, somehow maintaining perfect signal in bunkers designed to block radiation. That morning started wrong. Not obviously wrong, just off. Like when you're humming a song and realize you don't remember learning the words. Rodriguez mentioned it first. "Hey Sarge, you filed that assessment yesterday?" "What assessment?" He showed me his tablet. There it was, a complete weapons accountability report for the lower storage areas. My authorization codes. Timestamp 0800 hours, March 14th. I'd spent March 14th in meetings with Ukrainian liaisons about training schedules. Nowhere near the storage areas. Patterson looked over my shoulder. "System says you logged 7 hours down there. Even has your biometric confirmation. 7 hours I didn't remember, in places I'd never been." Williams was checking his equipment, that nervous habit he had when something felt wrong. His scanner picked up interference, not unusual in a facility full of military hardware. But this was different. Rhythmic, almost like breathing. "We should check the storage areas," Patterson said. "If someone's using your codes." That's how it starts. Not with explosions or invasions or obvious threats. Just a missing 7 hours and the feeling that someone's been wearing your life like a costume. The descent to the storage level took 12 minutes. Standard, security protocols, key cards, biometric scanners, the Ukrainian guard who always smelled like cigarettes and disappointment. Everything normal except the silence. You don't notice sound until it's gone. Ventilation systems, electrical hum, the distant echo of boots on concrete. All of it just stopped the moment we entered the lower level. Rodriguez made a joke about it being like his mother-in-law's house after he forgot their anniversary. Nobody laughed. In that silence, laughter would have been obscene. The storage rooms were exactly as they should be. Inventory matched. Serial numbers confirmed. Everything perfect except for one detail. The dust patterns were wrong. Someone had been here recently, but they'd walked in impossible ways. Footprints that started in the middle of the room. Handprints on walls 12 feet up. Dust disturbed in perfect circles like someone had been dancing. Patterson found the first anomaly. His ground-penetrating radar, the one he used to check for structural damage, lit up like a slot machine hitting jackpot. "Sarge, there's something below us." "Foundation?" "No, it's hollow, big hollow, and warm." The concrete beneath our feet was solid, poured in 1987 according to the specs. No basements, no sublevels, no infrastructure that could explain a 40-foot void generating heat signatures. Williams tried to radio topside. Static. Not normal static-shaped static, like someone breathing into the mic without speaking, breathing in a pattern that almost made sense, almost formed words, almost sounded like counting. That's when I should have left. Should have grabbed my team and run back to daylight and sanity. But I had 7 missing hours to account for. 7 hours where someone with my face and my codes had been doing things I couldn't remember. So we found the access hatch, hidden under a weapons rack, sealed with locks that shouldn't have existed. The metal was warm to the touch, and when Patterson cut through it, the air that rushed out smelled like copper and ozone and something else. Something organic, something afraid. The ladder descended into darkness that our lights couldn't quite penetrate. Not because it was too deep, but because the darkness down there was thick, substantive, like swimming through black water. Rodriguez went first, always did. Said it was because he was the heaviest, and if the ladder could hold him, it could hold anyone. Real reason was he couldn't stand letting anyone else take the risk. "Clear," he called up, his voice already different. Flatter. Like the darkness was pressing the emotion out of it. We descended into something that shouldn't have existed. Clean corridors with emergency lighting that had no power source. Junction boxes labeled in English, Russian, and German. Security cameras that tracked our movement with red recording lights that blinked in sequence. Left, right, center, repeat. The first door we found was marked Neural Mapping Authorized, Personnel Only in fresh paint. Through the reinforced glass window, we could see them. 12 sensory deprivation tanks, each one occupied. The floating bodies wore Ukrainian military uniforms, but their faces were wrong. Too peaceful, too empty, like mannequins dressed up to look human. Patterson checked the medical equipment surrounding the tanks. They're alive. Brain activity, heartbeat, respiration. But look at the EEG patterns. The brainwaves were synchronized. 12 different people thinking in perfect unison, their neural activity rising and falling like they were sharing the same dream. Williams found the clipboard, standard military form, but the contents were impossible. Subject batch 47. Integration proceeding on schedule. Memory restructuring 78% complete. Recommend deployment within 72 hours. Rodriguez was studying the dog tags visible through the murky water. These are from the 3rd Battalion, the unit that went missing near Kharkiv. That was 6 months ago, I said. Yeah, so why do the medical charts show they were admitted yesterday? The deeper we went, the more wrong everything became. Not obviously wrong, subtly wrong. Door frames that were a few degrees off square. Corridors that should have intersected but didn't. Clocks that ran backward, but only when you weren't looking directly at them. The second laboratory was worse. Surgical equipment that belonged in a neurosurgery ward, not a military facility. Operating tables with restraint systems designed for conscious patients. Walls covered with brain scans showing modifications I didn't want to understand. But it was the classroom that broke something in my mind. 12 desks arranged in perfect rows. Each one equipped with a helmet connected to cables that ran into the walls like veins. on the whiteboards, lessons that shouldn't exist. Loyalty protocol override. Conscience suppression techniques. Memory integration patterns. The photos on the bulletin board showed Ukrainian soldiers I'd trained, American advisors I'd served with, all sitting in those chairs, wearing those helmets, their eyes open, but nobody home. That's when the speakers crackled to life. Sergeant Chen, you're early. American accent. Midwest, maybe Ohio. Calm like a funeral director. The integration isn't scheduled until tomorrow, though I suppose since you're here, we could accelerate the timeline. Rodriguez raised his rifle. Who are you? I'm whoever you need me to be, Sergeant Rodriguez. Your commanding officer, your conscience, your memory of what happened here. That's the beauty of neural integration. Identity becomes surprisingly flexible. Williams was frantically working his equipment, trying to trace the signal. His hands shook. Sarge, this whole place is networked. Every room, every camera, every speaker. It's like one giant brain. Very good, Specialist Williams. Though brain is reductive, think of it more as a cultivation system. We're growing better. Soldiers. Soldiers who follow orders without moral hesitation. Soldiers who can't be broken under interrogation because their memories can be edited in real time. Soldiers who are, in every meaningful way, perfect. Patterson found the files. Hundreds of them. Personnel records for every American advisor in Ukraine, every NATO trainer, every Ukrainian officer above the rank of captain, all marked for enhancement. My file was there too. Psychological profile, family history, behavioral patterns. At the bottom, a note. Subject shows strong independence markers. Recommend enhanced compliance protocols during integration. You've been watching us, I said. Watching, recording, analyzing. Your every conversation, every decision, every moment of doubt. We know you better than you know yourself, Sergeant, which makes what comes next so much easier. The lights dimmed. Emergency exits sealed. The air grew thick with something that made thinking difficult. You see, Sergeant Chen, you've already been processed. You just don't remember it yet. Rodriguez shot out the speakers, didn't stop the voice. It just moved to different ones, like consciousness flowing through the walls. Violence is such a limited response, Sergeant Rodriguez. Your wife Maria would be disappointed. Rodriguez froze. How do you know about Maria? We know everything. Your daughter's piano recitals, your son's baseball games, the affair you almost had in Kandahar but didn't because you couldn't stop thinking about Maria's smile. We know you, Sergeant, better than you know yourself. The screens in the classroom activated, not videos, memories. Rodriguez's memories, playing like movies, his wedding day, his children being born, his father's funeral, private moments no camera could have captured. These aren't recordings, the voice explained. They're extracted directly from neural tissue. Amazing what the human brain stores. Every moment, every sensation, every thought you've ever had. All accessible with the right technology. Williams was backing toward the door. This is insane. This is freaking insane. Is it, Specialist? You've been backing up data to cloud servers your entire adult life. Photos, messages, thoughts. We're simply backing up the rest. Creating perfect copies of perfect soldiers. Patterson found something in the files that made him go pale. Sarge, look at this. A deployment schedule. Every American military advisor in Eastern Europe scheduled for enhancement over the next 3 months. But the dates were wrong. Some were marked as already complete weeks ago, including us. "Check the date," Patterson whispered. "March 9th, 6 days ago. According to the file, we'd already been processed, already been enhanced, already been deployed back to our units with modified memories and upgraded neural architecture." "That's impossible," I said. "I remember every day since March 9th. "Do you?" the voice asked. "Or do you remember remembering them?" "There's a difference, Sergeant. Memory is just electrical patterns, patterns that can be copied, edited, improved. The screens showed security footage, us entering this facility, but the timestamp showed March 9th. We walked differently in the footage, moved with mechanical precision. No wasted motion, no hesitation, no fear." "That's not us," Rodriguez insisted. "Isn't it? Same faces, same uniforms, same biometric markers. The only difference is optimization." "You've been upgraded, Sergeant Rodriguez. All of you have. You just needed to come back to remember." That's when I noticed Williams hadn't moved in 30 seconds. He stood perfectly still, not even breathing visibly. "Williams?" He turned his head exactly 90 degrees. When he spoke, it wasn't his voice. It was the voice from the speakers. "Integration complete. Neural architecture synchronized. Specialist Williams is now operating at optimal capacity." Rodriguez grabbed Williams, shook him. "Snap out of it." Williams blinked, looked confused. "What?" "Sorry, I just felt dizzy for a second." But his eyes were different. Still blue, still human. But the fear was gone, replaced with something else. Certainty, purpose, compliance. The voice continued through the speakers. "The process is quite painless. You won't even notice it happening. One moment you're you, the next moment you're better. Enhanced. Perfected." Patterson was checking his tablet, scrolling through files with increasing panic. "These medical records, they show brain surgery on us, dated 6 days ago. Minimally invasive," the voice assured us. "A few microscopic implants, some neural pathway optimization. Nothing that shows on a standard medical scan. You could get an MRI tomorrow, and the doctor wouldn't notice anything unusual." I touched the back of my head. No scars, no pain, nothing to indicate surgery. The incisions heal in hours with our accelerated tissue repair protocols. The only evidence is improved performance, faster reaction times, better decision-making, complete elimination of combat stress reactions. You're better soldiers now. You should be grateful. That's when we found the observation room. Through reinforced glass, we could see an operating theater. 3 tables, 3 patients, 3 procedures in progress. The patients were awake, eyes open, tracking movement while robotic surgical systems worked inside their open skulls. One of them was Captain Mitchell, our liaison with the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. I'd had coffee with him yesterday. Except according to the monitors, he'd been in surgery for the past week. "Memory is fascinating," the voice said. "You can have a complete conversation with someone who isn't there. Your brain fills in the gaps, creates the experience, makes it real. Captain Mitchell has been sending you emails, attending meetings, filing reports, all from this table. His neural patterns transmitted directly to your communication devices." Rodriguez was spiraling. "The coffee. I can taste the coffee we had yesterday." Sense memory is the easiest to implant. Taste, smell, touch. They're just chemical signals. We can make you remember anything. The question is, how would you know the difference? Patterson found the central database, thousands of personnel files, not just military, Contractors, journalists, humanitarian workers, anyone who'd spent more than a month in Ukraine. My file showed completed procedures I didn't remember. Neural mapping, cognitive enhancement, behavioral modification. According to the records, I'd volunteered for it all. There was video. Me sitting in one of those chairs, signing consent forms, smiling at the camera. I understand the procedures and volunteer for enhancement to better serve my country. I didn't remember any of it. Of course you don't, the voice said. That would defeat the purpose. Enhanced soldiers who know they're enhanced might resist their programming. Better to let you think you're making your own choices. Williams was working his equipment again, but his movements were different, more efficient, no wasted motion. Sarge, I'm detecting transmission signals. This facility is connected to others. Poland, Romania, Germany. It's a network. 117 facilities across 32 countries, the voice confirmed. All producing enhanced personnel, all creating the future of warfare. Soldiers without fear, without doubt, without inconvenient moral objections. Rodriguez found something that broke him. A video file labeled with his service number. It showed him in one of the tanks, floating, cables attached to his skull. The timestamp was current. Right now. That's impossible. I'm here. I'm standing right here. Are you? Or are you floating in a tank, experiencing a neural simulation of standing there? How would you know the difference? I looked at my hands. They looked real, felt real, but so did the coffee with Mitchell. Patterson was laughing, not healthy laughter, the kind that comes when sanity starts to crack. We're not here. None of this is real. We're all in tanks somewhere, dreaming we're free. Or, the voice suggested, you're free and dreaming you're in tanks. Or you're in tanks dreaming you're free, but that's also a dream. Reality becomes quite negotiable once you can edit the experiences that define it. That's when the doors opened. 12 soldiers entered. American uniforms, familiar faces, the rest of our advisory team. They moved in perfect synchronization, no verbal communication, just seamless coordination. Lieutenant Morrison, who I'd served with in Afghanistan, looked at me with empty eyes. Sergeant Chen, please report to Processing Room 7 for scheduled enhancement. Morrison, it's me. Remember Kandahar? Remember that night with the goat that got into the communications tent? No recognition, no humor, no humanity. Sergeant Chen, compliance is not optional. Rodriguez raised his rifle. Stay back. Morrison's team raised their weapons in perfect unison. No fear, no hesitation, no stress responses. Your families have been relocated for their protection, Morrison said in that flat, empty voice. Cooperation ensures their continued safety. They showed us the feeds. Live video from Fort Liberty, where my wife Sarah was having lunch with a woman I didn't recognize. From El Paso, where Rodriguez's children played in a park with too many adults watching. From Virginia, where Williams's sister attended a college class surrounded by students who moved too precisely. We don't threaten families, the voice explained. We protect them, ensure they're surrounded by enhanced personnel who will keep them safe, as long as you cooperate. Patterson had found something in the code. Sarge, the whole system runs on quantum encryption, but there's a vulnerability. If we physically destroy the power coupling, it'll cause a cascade failure. Might shut down the entire network. Might? Or it might kill everyone in the tanks, including us if we're really in there. Rodriguez looked at the screen showing his children. Maybe dying free is better than living as a puppet. Williams, or whatever was wearing Williams's face, tilted his head. Freedom is an illusion, Sergeant Rodriguez. You follow orders from commanders who follow orders from politicians who follow orders from donors who follow orders from market forces. You've never been free. We're simply making the chain of command more efficient. That's when I understood. This wasn't about creating super soldiers. It was about creating soldiers who couldn't question orders, couldn't refuse, couldn't remember why they ever would have. How many? I asked. How many have you processed? Globally, approximately 12,000. Military personnel, intelligence operatives, key civilians, enough to ensure stability during the transition period. Transition to what? To a world without war crimes, without unauthorized violence, without soldiers who refuse lawful orders. Every conflict managed by personnel incapable of exceeding their parameters. Clean, efficient, controlled. Morrison's team stepped forward. Final opportunity for voluntary compliance. I looked at my team. Rodriguez thinking about his kids. Patterson calculating odds. Williams already gone, just wearing his face like a mask. Patterson, can you rig the charge? 60 seconds. Do it. The enhanced soldiers moved, but we moved first. Not faster. They were faster, but we were unpredictable. Human. Chaotic in ways their programming couldn't immediately adapt to. Rodriguez threw a chair, bought us seconds. I shot out lights, throwing patterns their synchronized vision couldn't track. Patterson worked on the power coupling while Williams, the thing that used to be Williams, watched with curious detachment. You're making a mistake, Morrison said, blood running from where Rodriguez had broken his nose. No pain response, just observation. The enhancement is inevitable. If not today, then tomorrow. If not here, then somewhere else. The charge was set. 30 seconds. Your families will be processed first, Morrison continued. Your children will grow up enhanced. Perfect students, perfect citizens, perfect soldiers. Is that really worse than the world you're leaving them? 20 seconds. Rodriguez looked at the screen showing his children. They deserve the chance to choose. Choice is chaos. We're offering order. 10 seconds. I grabbed the files Patterson had downloaded. Evidence, proof, something to warn the world. 5 seconds. See you in the tanks, Morrison said. The explosion shattered more than the power coupling. Reality itself seemed to crack. I woke up in the medical tent at Yavoriv. Clean sheets, IV drip, concerned faces. Colonel Harrison leaning over me. Chen, thank God. You've been unconscious for 3 days. 3 days. The same 3 days I'd been filing reports I didn't remember. Sir, the facility, under the storage areas, the tanks, the enhanced soldiers. Slow down, Sergeant. You were caught in a training accident. Electrical explosion in the storage area. Rodriguez and Patterson are fine. Minor injuries. Williams is still in surgery, but expected to recover. I tried to sit up. No, sir. We found something. A whole network of... Harrison placed a hand on my shoulder. Firm. Too firm. You suffered a significant concussion, Sergeant. Confusion is normal. Temporary memory displacement. The medical team says you might experience false memories for a few weeks. His eyes were wrong. Still brown, still familiar, but empty of something fundamental. Where are the files? Patterson downloaded files. I'll have someone check on that. Right now, you need to rest. You have a commendation coming. Heroic action during the accident. Pulling your team to safety. I didn't remember pulling anyone to safety, but the report was already written, my signature already on it. Rodriguez visited that afternoon, cheerful, normal, talking about his kids, about Maria, about looking forward to rotation home. No memory of tanks or enhanced soldiers or impossible choices. Patterson came by the next day, showed me his tablet. Weird thing, Sarge. Found these corrupted files in my system. Looks like technical manuals, but they're all scrambled. Probably from that electrical surge. The files were empty, gigabytes of nothing. Williams never visited. When I asked, they said he'd been transferred to Germany for specialized treatment. Better facilities. Full recovery expected. But here's the thing about memory. Sometimes it leaves shadows, impressions. Like when you wake from a dream and can't remember details, but the feeling lingers. I started keeping a journal, writing down everything I could remember before it faded. The tanks, the voice, Morrison's empty eyes, the choice we made. Some days I read it and think I must have imagined it all. Concussion-induced hallucinations, paranoid fantasies born from too many deployments, too much stress, too little sleep. But then I notice things. The way Colonel Harrison's staff moves in perfect synchronization when they think no one's watching. The way certain emails appear in my inbox, already marked as read. The way I sometimes know things I shouldn't. Passwords I never learned. Protocols I never studied. Names of personnel I've never met. Rodriguez called last week. Said he's volunteering for a special training program. Enhanced Combat Effectiveness course. Says it'll be good for his career, good for his family. Patterson stopped questioning inconsistencies in his reports. Stopped taking apart equipment to see how it works. Stopped being curious. And Williams? Williams sent me a message yesterday, just one line. Integration complete. I'm recording this because someone needs to know. Someone needs to remember. Even if that someone is just you, listening to this. Wondering if it's real or just another conspiracy theory from a damaged veteran. Check your recent internet history. Look for sites you don't remember visiting. Files you don't remember downloading. Conversations you don't remember having. Ask yourself, would you know if you'd been enhanced? Would you want to know? The report on my desk says I completed a routine weapons inspection on March 15th. Everything accounted for. No anomalies detected. Recommend site for expanded operations. I signed it. I must have. It's my signature. But I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of things now. Or I remember them differently each time. Reality has become negotiable, and I'm running out of currency to pay for the truth. They're expanding the program. More advisors arriving next month. More inspections scheduled. More opportunities for enhancement. If you're military, if you're in Ukraine or Poland or anywhere with a NATO presence, be careful. Watch for the signs. Missing time. Reports you don't remember filing. Colleagues who stop questioning things. Perfect synchronization where there should be human chaos. And if you notice your own thoughts becoming quieter, more ordered, more compliant, it might already be too late. I'm uploading this to 17 different servers with a dead man's switch. If I don't check in every 24 hours, it releases everywhere. Maybe it'll get through. Maybe someone will believe it. Maybe it'll make a difference. Or maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and delete it all, file a report saying it was just combat stress, and volunteer for an enhancement program that promises to make everything better. The choice is mine. I think. I hope. But I can't shake the feeling that I've already chosen, already been processed, and this recording is just another part of the program. A way to identify and isolate resistance elements. A trap disguised as a warning. Would you know the difference? Would you want to? My name is Staff Sergeant Marcus Chen. I died in Ukraine 3 days ago, or maybe 6 days ago, or maybe I never died at all, or maybe I was never alive to begin with. The only thing I know for certain is that I have a weapons accountability report to file. Everything normal. No anomalies detected. Recommend site for expanded operations. End transmission. File corrupted. Source unknown.